Hi everyone, it's Miss Deans here again, and I am going to talk you through part 2 of the Mission to Mars project and just explain some of the tasks that I've asked you to complete in a bit more detail. So follow along, please. So we're starting off with Research Task 4, which is also called WEBQUEST. Now, you may already have spotted that this is called Research Task 4, and the last task you completed was Research Task 2. That is because this was originally a much longer PowerPoint and some of the slides have been taken out. Some of the tasks have been taken out because they're a bit trickier to complete at home. So, Research Task 4 it is. This task asks you to follow the link. Now the link is on the slide, but I'm also going to include it under this video. So if you look at the video on YouTube, you should see that there's a link there that you can click. You have to read the article that is at the end of the link, and then you have to answer the questions below. Now you can read through that article yourself. However, if you wait until the end of this presentation, I've included some pictures of the article and I am going to read through them for you. So if you think that's an awful lot of text, it's an awful lot of reading, and you would like to hear somebody read it out, you can wait until the end of this video and I will read through it for you. In the meantime, let's look at these questions that you have to answer. So question 1 is, what type of trip will the journey to Mars be? What does this mean for the people who sign up to it? Okay. Now in this case, I would quite like you to answer in sentences. You can do this in a jotter or you can type it up, but please do write in full sentences. Question 2, what features have always drawn explorers? Now you can see that always drawn explorers is in speech mark. That means that it's a quote from the article. Those words are in the article that you have to read. So it's really just asking you, what things have always attracted explorers? What things have made explorers want to visit Mars? What qualities must an applicant possess? What does somebody who's going to apply to go to Mars have to be like? And you will find the answer to that question in paragraph 4. You will need to count the paragraphs yourself, I'm afraid. Question 4 is, how long will the journey take and what impact will it have on the participants? You'll find the answer to that in paragraph 5. Question 5 says, read paragraph 6. How will the mission overcome the energy, water and food challenges of Mars? So there's going to be a lot of challenges going to Mars. There's going to be having enough energy, having enough water, having enough food. How will the mission get past those problems? How will they deal with those problems is what you're being asked there. Question 6 is based on paragraphs 9 to 14. You have to identify the main problems that could stop people from inhabiting Mars. So what are the things that could get in the way? You have to look at paragraphs 9 to 14. In full sentences, please. Paragraph 20 to 21. What comparison does astronaut Stan Love make? That means that this astronaut, Stan Love, compares one thing to something else. He says that one thing is like something else, or that something is as something else. So what comparison does he make? And then it says, what point is he making? So what is he trying to help you to understand by making that comparison? If I said something like, the class were as noisy as a herd of elephants, I might be making the point that they were kind of badly behaved and noisy, for example. So what comparison is he making and what point is he trying to make? Question 8. Dr. Chris Lintott from Oxford University stated that the mission was technologically plausible. But what problem does he see? Now, plausible means possible or believable. It means it could happen. So he's saying that he thinks this mission is, in terms of technology, possible, but he can see a problem. What is the problem that he sees? And then question 9, it says, what is in our genome? Now, you might not know what the word genome is, but when you look through the article, you will find it. The speech mark tells you that is a quote, and you should be able to work out the answer to that question from there. So, read the article. Remember, you can wait till the end of the video and I'll read through it with you if you want. And then answer these questions in sentences, please. And you can type them up or you can write them in a jotter and you can send me a picture. And if you do that, I'll get back to you. All right. Next task. Okay, so here's your next task. This is also going to involve visiting a website. So the link is here. I'll include the link in the notes for the video as well. You have to read through the information on the website. You'll have to click your way through the different parts of it, and then you have to select 10 facts about the planet Mars and how humans may be able to travel to it. Now in this case, I am not going to read out any of the website for you, and that is because a lot of the information on the website is already in the form of videos that have narration on them. So you should be able to click through it and look at all of that yourself. If you have any difficulty, you can get in touch in Edmodo. So have a look at all the information that's there, watch and listen to the videos, and then you have to write down 10 facts about the planet Mars and how humans could possibly be able to travel to it. Now I've got 2 examples here for you to start you off. If you're stuck, you can copy these out and then you can continue and do the next 8 yourself. So it is 56 billion kilometers away. It would take 9 months to travel there. So we're looking for a bullet pointed list, just like that. It could be in your jotter, it could be typed up, but 10 facts about the planet Mars from the link that I've included on this slide. So this is a different website. Okay, one final task before we finish. So finally, we've got a little research task here, and you're going to have to be a little bit more independent here. On the left-hand side, we have a list of persuasive language techniques. What that means is these are things that you can do if you are trying to persuade someone to do someone. If you're trying to persuade someone to do something, I should have said. So if you are making an advert and you are trying to persuade somebody to buy a bar of chocolate, for example, you may use some of these techniques. Okay? So they are the power of 3, emotive language, rhetorical questions, say again, undermine opposing views, anecdote, direct address, and exaggeration. And your task is to try and find a definition for each of these. So that means, what do they mean? So I want you to look it up. You're probably going to use the internet to do that, so you can use Google if you like. Find out what each phrase means, and then if you can as well, give an example. Okay? You might find that if you actually put in persuasive language and the name of the technique that you're looking up, you get better results. I will leave that with you. That is your final task. And you can just write that out as a list or an example or as a table, however you prefer. Okay, that's the final task for this part of the PowerPoint. I would guess it would probably take you about another week to do these tasks, but again, your pace is up to you. You can take less time, you can take more time. If you stay on the video, I'm going to read through the article that you need for the first set of questions, for the first tasks, the first task in this video. If you think you're okay to read that through yourself and you don't need any extra help, you can just stop the video now. Okay, so here is the headline from the BBC News article. Applicants wanted for a one-way ticket to Mars. You can see that's because it's a news article, it also has the journalist. So it says by Melissa Hoggenboom. And it also has the date the article was published, which was the 17th of April 2013. Because this article is from a website, down the right-hand side of the page, you can see that there are links to other articles, but we don't need to pay any attention to those. We're going to ignore them just now. Want to go to Mars? Dutch organisation Mars One says it will open applications imminently. It would be a one-way trip, and the company hopes to build a community of settlers on the planet. Uncharted waters, mountains or faraway lands have always drawn explorers. History books show that desire for adventure, even in the face of extreme danger, did not deter the likes of Columbus or Magellan. So it is perhaps not surprising that Mars One has already received thousands of prospective applicants. But there is no return, unlike the mission which hopes to fly to Mars and back in 2018. Future explorers take note. Applicants must be resilient, adaptable, resourceful, and must work well within a team. The whole project will be televised from the reality TV style selection process to landing and beyond. On a trip to the BBC's London office, Mars One's co-founder Bas Lansdorp explains why this would be a one-way flight. During the 7 to 8 month journey, astronauts will lose bone and muscle mass. After spending time on Mars's much weaker gravitational field, it would be almost impossible to readjust back to Earth's much stronger gravity, says Lansdorp. Successful applicants will be trained physically and psychologically. The team will use existing technology for all aspects of the project. Energy will be generated from solar panels, water will be recycled and extracted from soil, and the astronauts will grow their own food. They will also have an emergency ration and regular top-ups as new explorers join every 2 years. But is it realistic to believe that individuals could live and prosper on the red planet? Mars is in the firing line of the sun's high-energy particles, called solar wind. The atmosphere of Mars is very thin, as the solar wind is thought to have stripped much of it away. On Earth, we are protected from the solar wind by a strong magnetic field. Without this, it would be much more difficult to survive. Although Mars once had similar protection about 4 billion years ago, today there is no such shield protecting it. The Martian surface is therefore extremely hostile to life, says Dr. Veronica Bray from the University of Arizona's Lunar and Planetary Laboratory, who is sceptical about the project. There's no liquid water. The atmospheric pressure is practically a vacuum. Radiation levels are higher and temperatures vary wildly, she says. Radiation exposure is a concern, especially during the trip. This can lead to increased cancer risk, a lowered immune system, and possible infertility. To minimise radiation, the project team will cover the domes with several metres of soil, which the colonists will have to dig up. I have no doubt that we could physically place a human being on Mars. Whether they'd be able to survive for an extended period of time is much more doubtful, adds Dr. Bray. Ambassador for the project, Professor Gerald 't Hooft, a recipient of the Nobel Prize for Theoretical Physics in 1999, admits there are unknown health risks. He says the radiation is of quite a different nature than anything which has been tested on Earth. They, the applicants, will be told that there are risks, but it will be our responsibility to keep the risks within acceptable odds. NASA astronaut Stan Love knows firsthand the difficulties with technology that his colleagues have experienced on the International Space Station in low Earth orbit. The apparatus, which recycles human waste and turns yesterday's coffee into tomorrow's coffee, needs frequent maintenance and would likely not survive years of continuous duty on Mars, he says. Love has recently returned from Antarctica, which he says is a picnic compared to Mars. It's full of water, you can go outside and breathe the air. It's paradise compared to Mars, and yet nobody has moved there permanently. Although dubious about the funding, the technology and the impact of radiation, Love applauds small enterprises like Mars One. He strongly believes private organisations will help raise awareness and hopefully discover or design some technology which will help future teams reach their goal of landing on Mars. We've been dreaming about this for 50 years. The moon was just supposed to be a stepping stone to Mars, but when you study the problem, you realise it's immensely hard to do this. Many critics have focused on funding and whether the project would hold the public's attention for many years. It will cost an estimated £3.8 billion, $6 billion, to send the first group. Dr. Chris Lintop from Oxford University says that while the project is technologically plausible, he does not think they will find the funding. It's about having the political will and the financial muscle to make this happen. That's what nobody has been able to solve so far, he explains. But Lansdorp sees no issue with funding. He uses the revenue from the worldwide broadcasting rights of the Olympics as a comparison. This will be the biggest thing that humanity has ever done. In 15 years, people will still be watching. Exploring our world and now beyond is what humans do. It's in our genome. The settler's dream of going to Mars will come true. Whether or not the mission will achieve its goal, the publicity generated from the Big Brother-style televised application process means the world will surely be watching. Okay guys, that's the whole article. That should help you with the task at the beginning of the slide. Good luck and send me a message on Edmodo if you have any questions.